Hello, AJ76 Ian here, and this is round 10 of AOR F12017 Tier F8 on the PlayStation 4, the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. There was a wet qualifying. We all qualified on inters, but I mistimed my last lap, so didn't get a last lap in when the track was quickest, so disappointingly is 10th on a 1:45.937. 12 drivers are taking part in this race, and we're going to start on the soft tyre. David Benz on pole in the Ferrari. On come the lights, and we're off, and it's a reasonable start. Jason gets a very good start ahead of us, and we're still in 10th place, but the field is going to bunch into this fast right-hander, and I misjudged the braking of Denzamo ahead. Very nearly took him out, but I've been punished for that as I'm back down to last place. Lots of battles going on ahead by the looks of it. Noodle Dougal and Guy Hoyt's going side by side, but giving each other plenty of room. So get your head down is what I was saying to myself at this point, and just ease yourself into the race. It's starting dry, but you can see there's a lot of clouds around Silverstone already, and the prediction on the weather was that I think it was going to be 20 odd minutes in we were going to get some light rain, and then it was going to basically stay wet and then get heavy rain towards the end. So we're pretty sure that we will probably won't be driving on any other dry set of tyres other than these softs. That's what we hope anyway. And we're about to follow Guy Hoyt through the very fast right-hander at Copse, and he takes too much curb, runs wide, doesn't spin, doesn't crash, but he's lost the position, and we're up 1 to 11th place as we go through the fearsomely quick Maggots and Beckett's complex here at Silverstone. And the top 10 are actually pulling away from us. I had some difficulties in adjusting in my head to the fact that it was dry conditions. Having taken corners in qualifying at a certain speed, I now need to get back into dry tyres mode. So forward to lap 5, we're still in 11th place, but you can see the rain has started much earlier than we expected, probably 10 minutes or so earlier than was forecast, and we're under pressure now to not be last in this race, because Guy Hoyt seems to be working much better in these slightly damp conditions, and he's going to come up our inside into Stowe, and we give him the room. He's quicker at the moment, and he's through, and unfortunately we're down to last place. So crossing the line, start of lap 6. And we go through this yellow flag. Somebody's had a spin. Who is it? On the outside, it's the Toro Rosso of Washi, the championship leader, who spun. And we've gained a place to 11th. Later on lap 6, of Washi, who's a quick driver, doesn't waste any time in catching us again after his spin. He's got down the inside. We try and outbrake him around the outside, which you can do sometimes in these conditions. But we ran a bit too wide, and he comfortably takes the position. And now lap 7 we are, and we're going to come in to change to intermediate tyres. That's what the strategy suggested we do, and it did feel probably about the right time to come on to inters. You'll see ahead of us is the Toro Rosso of Washi, and he's coming in at the same time as well, so it'll be a bit of a battle between the two pit crews as to who gets out on top. The player playing does have some control in terms of the clutch about releasing it, but mostly the pit stop time is down to the actual AI in the pit crew. Let's see who wins this battle. On go the green sidewall tyre inters, and we've got out ahead of Washi in fact. And we're very cautious now, a couple of corners on our outlap with these inters, and we have a bit of a slide there, and that allows Washi to get the momentum around the outside. We give him room, and unfortunately we're back down to 11th. Now we're coming up, and we're actually catching someone for once, and it's Jason, who's moved on to the wet tyres, meant for very heavy rain. It's possibly not wet enough, and I think he's struggling to get much speed out of them, and so this is our chance to overtake in AOR. He's really struggling under breaking through Vale into club. We run very wide. He's on our inside. That's going to compromise his exit. And we should be able to go through here under power on the right hand side. And we've overtaken Jason and moved to 10th. Coming up towards the end of lap 16, and we've had a good battle chasing down Noodle Dougal. We've been fairly similarly matched on pace, but he's made, I think, a couple of errors along the way, small ones, so we've gradually clawed the gap down, and now we're going to follow him into the pits. I was umming and ahhing about when and whether to come in to fit the blue marked wet tyres, because the rain has got a little bit heavier. I thought it was probably too early for wets in balance, but the track is wet enough that I don't think it's going to cause me major problems, and this could enable us to jump Noodle Dougal, but of course we don't know which set of tyres he's going on. I actually assumed he was going to put the wets on, but we could see just on the right hand side there that he was going for the inters. So two different strategies in this battle for 9th place. He gets out ahead of us, and now we'll have to see who has chosen the right set of tyres for the rest of the race. So on to lap 18 now, and we are under pressure from Washi behind, who had connection problems, so he lost connection, but he's come back into the race, and so he chases down for 9th place, and we're really struggling to get used to these wet tyres, and I put the power down a little bit too soon, spin the car. Luckily the barrier's a long way away from the edge of the track at that point, so we didn't end up damaging our car, but we've made our first major mistake of the race. So on to lap 18, we're still in 10th place, and this is Zeke who's going to overtake us, and he is lapping us, and he's in a fantastic 2nd place, his best result of the season so far. David Ben is leading the race. He's already lapped us a lap before, and Noodle Dougal's had to come in to change tyres to go on to the full wet, so he's had to make an extra pit stop than us, so it's meant we've up to 9th place, and the rest of the race was really a case of keeping the gap to Jason behind, who was making the inters work quite well. I'll have to see later on what the mix of tyres that we all finished the race on, but it seemed to me that it was very much nearly the crossover point between inters and wets, because we were doing very similar pace, Jason and I, at this point. But you can see from the readout on the right hand side that you have to change the fuel mixture quite a lot in these conditions. In the dry you wouldn't really touch lean mixture at all unless you were really running low on fuel, but here you go, well for me anyway, you go down to standard for the fast corners, lean on the slower corners, and rich on the straights. But you can see on the top left hand screen there's a blue warning that there's a faster car approaching, and this was actually Zeke who had to make another pit stop, who's still in 2nd place, but he's coming up to lap us effectively again, although we're only going a lap behind, and I just about do my best to keep out and not knock my teammate out on the last lap, which would have been embarrassing. So overall then, well, I qualified 10th. I think I could have qualified maybe 7th or 8th if I hadn't mistimed my strategy of when to come out for my last run. And in the race, I'm pretty pleased really, because I've hardly ever raced this game in the wet on or offline. So to just make one mistake, although I was probably a bit cautious of my speed, was pretty pleasing. Another 9th place finish, but at least the runner points continues. So here's your podium. David Ben, first win of the season in the Ferrari, the Welshman. 2nd place for the Englishman Zeke, his first podium in the Renault, and the first podium as well for the American driver Caddy Damus in the Williams. There are lap times. In the championship, well, Washi's lead has been cut. He now leads McQuiz by 26 points. David Ben is moved up to 3rd ahead of Denzamo. They're on the same points, but his win puts him ahead. And as for us, we've moved down to 6th place, same points as Boniface. That is James Boniface, and he overtakes us courtesy of his win in Canada. So there are finishing positions: 6, 4, 6, 7, 9, 6, 9, 7, 9, 9. Getting pretty fed up with finishing 9th. There's a few week break before the next race coming up, but I've applied to take part in the Christmas Cup, a series of shorter races using classic cars from the 90s and 2000s. The first race is coming up in Wednesday in Japan, and that's going to be using the McLaren from 1991.